Without boring you all to tears with a history lesson, I'm sure you all know that Yugoslavia was a country that existed in the southeast of Europe during most of the 20th century, but like any super construct, there has to be a breakup at some point. This was due to the rise of nationalism though, rather than Zayn just getting fed up of forcing a smile into a camera all day. Let's take a look at what a Yugoslavian football 11 would look like today. Jan Oblak. Atletico Madrid always seem to have an up-and-coming superstar between their sticks. Not only have they become a factory for world-class strikers, but they seem to place a pretty high value on young, talented shot stoppers too. Jan Oblak is the latest, signed in 2014 to replace the outgoing Thibaut Courtois, and not only has the Slovenian been awarded the La Liga Best Goalkeeper award 2 years straight, he's also been included in the UEFA Champions League squad of the season both campaigns. With a €100 million release clause, he looks to have a big future ahead of him. Sorry Begovic, you're gonna have to settle for a place on the bench. But then I suppose you're fairly used to that. Branislav Ivanovic. So Branislav Ivanovic can no longer run without coughing up a lung, I hear you say. His career ended on the Emirates pitch in September of last year. Not so. It's true the 33-year-old Serb is no longer in peak condition, but by all accounts he's returned to form since a move to Russia with Zenit St. Petersburg in February. With 94 caps for Serbia, he's as experienced as they come, and at club level he's won everything there is to win in the game, including the hearts of a nation after Jeff Shreves broke his spirit and Luis Suarez mistook him for a sandwich. DEJAN Lovren. DEJAN Lovren is a man not without his critics, and he must have spent most of last month wishing Virgil van Dijk did not exist. However, the Croatian centre-half is an experienced defender, having played at the top level for Lyon, Southampton and Liverpool, and looks very much a part of Jurgen Klopp's plans for next season. Interestingly, despite being capped 31 times for his country, the man didn't have a word of Croatian under his belt until he was nearly 12. His family had fled Yugoslavia to Munich due to the Bosnian War when Lovren was just 3 years old, before returning 7 years later despite having integrated perfectly into German culture. Stefan Savic. The first Montenegrin to make the list is Stefan Savic, familiar with Premier League audiences only for his ability to make Julian Lescott look like Bobby Moore. He played 20 games for Man City during the 11-12 season, tried his best to torch their title challenge, and was shipped off to Fiorentina at the end of the season as part exchange for Matija Nastasic, who himself could have made this team. Savic is now at Atletico Madrid and is the first Montenegrin to have played in a Champions League final in the 21st century. Man City, on the other hand, are still trying to work out how many checks they need to write to get past the last 16. Alexander KOLAROV. Alexander KOLAROV seems to have been in the Premier League forever. Not only that, but he seems like he's been agitating for a move away since the moment he got there. He must have really lazy agents for nothing to have ever materialised. Signed in 2010, the Serbian defenders made close to 250 appearances for the club, scoring 21 goals. However, the fact that Gael Clichy played the number of games he did shows the former Lazio man isn't exactly Paolo Maldini when it comes to defending. He might look like a smile would break his face, but he's been capped 68 times by his country. With Man City spending more on fullbacks than Floyd Mayweather spends on strippers, it looks like the 31-year-old's time could be up. MIRALEM Pjanic. Massimiliano Allegri has recently said that MIRALEM Pjanic can realise his potential and become one of the top 3 midfielders in world football. The former Roma star signed for Juventus last summer and scored 8 goals in 47 games as the club came within a Cristiano Ronaldo demolition of the treble. He was named the Champions League Team of the Season and at Roma was the Serie A top assist provider for 2 years running. The 27-year-old, fluent in 5 languages, has earned over 70 caps for Bosnia and Herzegovina, despite playing for the Luxembourg youth sides. Jack Grealish is that you? Eligible through his father, who fled to Luxembourg during the war. He switched nationalities and represented them at their first major tournament of the World Cup 3 years ago. Ivan Rakitic. So Ivan Rakitic played for the Switzerland underage sides. Doesn't anyone come from where they say they do anymore? To be fair, the Barcelona playmaker qualifies for Croatia due to his parents and made his full international debut 10 years ago. The 29-year-old is the first player to ever win the Champions League 1 year, after winning the Europa League while playing for 2 different clubs. Bit of a convoluted stat. He's played 100 La Liga games for Barcelona, winning everything on the table, and has represented his nation at 4 different tournaments. A shoo-in for this team. Luka Modric. When El Clasico kicks off, you might look to Ronaldo and Messi to stroll around on opposite sides of the pitch, but the real drama unfolds in the middle of the park, between Rakitic and his international teammate. Luka Modric is the metronome in Real Madrid's midfield, and despite being named worst signing of the season when he first arrived from Tottenham, has established himself as a key figure. He's played over 200 games for the club, has won La Liga, Copa del Rey and 3 Champions Leagues. Like his time in Madrid, he endured a rough start to life, with his childhood coinciding with the Croatian War of Independence. With his father having joined the army, his grandfather executed, Modric became a refugee and lived in a hotel for 7 years, with thousands of grenades littering the city every day. He's gone on to win Croatian Footballer of the Year 5 times and has made 95 appearances for his country. Ivan Perisic. Manchester United are currently after 2 would-be Yugoslavians. One does not make it into this list. The other does. Ivan Perisic is surely going to end up in the northwest of England this summer, with the club heavily linked with a £48 million deal for him. May I remind everyone that he's a winger that is 18 months off turning 30. Anyway, the Croatian, who bagged the winner against Spain last summer, has recorded identical stats at his last two clubs, scoring 18 goals in 70 league games for both Inter Milan and Wolfsburg. On a slightly related note, Obafemi Martins also enjoyed recording identical stats, and he played for both clubs too. Bit weird. EDIN DZEKO. What happened to EDIN DZEKO last season? We all knew the Bosnian striker was a top player, but after a disappointing 2 seasons, where he scored a combined 12 league goals for both Man City and Roma, he exploded with 39 strikes in 51 games last campaign. He was always a clinical finisher at both Wolfsburg and in England, but last season was his best to date. Not bad for a 31-year-old. He's Bosnia and Herzegovina's record goal scorer with 50 goals in 85 games. Mario Mandzukic. It was a close one. Do I include Nikola Kalinic, who unlike some has successfully shaken off his Blackburn nightmare? His compatriot Mario Mandzukic won out in the end, probably due to the fact that he can and has been playing on the left for Juventus and performing to a relatively high standard. If Juventus didn't roll over and allow themselves to be tickled by Ronaldo in June, then we'd still be talking about Mandzukic's wonder strike in the Champions League final, but as it happens his team lost 4-1, so who cares? The former Bayern Munich and Atletico Madrid striker is a top player, and while goals haven't been free-flowing in Turin, his work rate has not gone unnoticed. He scored 29 goals in 74 games for his country, including 2 against the Republic of Ireland at Euro 2012. On second thoughts, is it too late to put Kalinic in after all? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and also check out HITC 7s.